Good morning, all. Suburban Sentinel here, coming to you from the suburbs deep within the Arabian Peninsula. It is Wednesday morning here, kind of early, which means that back home in America it is yesterday. Anyway, this is a prepping related video, and in essence it is a case study. Recently I'm hesitant to call it an opportunity, but circumstances in which I've had box seats to people's lives who have so-called hit the fan. And I think as preppers we all have something to learn from this. I've been in the kingdom a couple of months now, and I've had the opportunity to meet many other expats, some of whom are Syrian. And let me say at the outset, without exception, they are all wonderful people, some of the nicest people I've ever met. And I'm sure most of you know what's been going on in Syria for the last couple of years. The whole mess, civil war with Assad, and messing around with the Americans and the Russians and the chemical weapons, and now ISIS and the U.S. airstrikes. It's a total mess. Now, the Syrian expats that I know were already working here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia when things really went to hell in Syria. Of course, they were fortunate not to be there. However, many of them left their families behind. And we're not talking just extended families. We're talking parents and teenage children as well. Things are very difficult for their families back in Syria, many of whom are under a constant threat of arrest for criticizing the government or being perceived to be critical of the government. They're under the constant threat of death or injury from a variety of many sources now. The rebels are raiding homes and they're pillaging for what they can find, and from what I hear, raping some of the women and girls. ISIS is killing civilians, and we Americans now are, with the airstrikes, are increasing the risk of death and injury through injudicious bombing. Throughout the chaos, the Syrian expats have struggled to get basic resources to their friends and family members back home. And some of these Syrian expats have even taken great personal risk in crossing the border back and forth from Syria. And there have been a couple of tragedies. One of the expats, his oldest child was killed by gunfire from an unknown source, and another, one of her parents passed away, presumably from the lack of adequate medical care. So things have been very, very difficult across the border in Syria. What I do find amazing is the incredible resilience of these folks from Syria. Despite all of the hardship and the heartbreak, they are still able to hold down full-time jobs, many of which require a great amount of concentration and involve a great amount of responsibility. They all seem grateful for being here in the kingdom and at least being able to help the folks back home to whatever extent possible. And without exception, they are all still optimistic and sociable. It's really amazing to me. So how do they do it? How do they keep it together, so to speak? My wife and I had a difficult adjustment just leaving our pets behind, and we know for a fact that they are safe, happy, and want for nothing. I'm not sure if these Syrian expats who are suffering through all of this hardship were just born mentally resilient. Do they rise to the occasion, or are they just putting on a brave face? Honestly, I do not know, but I think we all have a question we need to ask ourselves. Could we all be this mentally tough in the face of an SHTF situation? As preppers, most of us are pretty good at logistics. And by that I mean having adequate supplies of necessities, food, water, good shelter, weapons, etc. But we don't often talk about the mental aspects of prepping. Knowing these Syrians has given me cause for some serious introspection as to my mental toughness. So what I propose is, as a topic of discussion, is one, whether we individually and collectively have the mental fortitude to go on under like circumstances, and two, if not, how do we develop that mental toughness so that we can endure even under such adversity. So this topic is open for discussion. Comments and video responses are, of course, more than welcome. So that's all for now from the desert. Thanks for watching. This is the Suburban Sentinel. Please thumbs up and subscribe if you like what you see. And again, questions, enlightening comments are always welcome. Prep and be safe, everybody.